Welcome to the Midside. My name is Justin, and I think zombies are the perfect horror monster. In hordes, the animalistic undead chase the living with the goal of consuming them until they are equally brain dead. There's no better way to demonstrate the dangers of collectivism, the practice or principle of giving a group priority over each individual in it. In his first feature film, Zack Snyder uses that concept as only he would, to demonstrate the dehumanizing effects of collectivism through the process's parallels to zombification. But this utilization of the zombie concept is just the surface of what's distinctly cool about Snyder's 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead. Within the conflict between individualism and collectivism, we can clearly see the beginnings of his signature stylistic motifs and ethos of irony. About 11 minutes into the movie, we get the first of his signature opening title sequences. Heavily expositional, the montage shows a world devolving into violent, chaotic, collectivistic terror, and it's all set to Johnny Cash's acoustic country track, The Man Comes Around.
The free and who to blame.
The use of Cash's song about the biblical judgment day is mind-bogglingly brilliant. The slower, contemplative tone of the track juxtaposes with the frenetic, visceral imagery to create an unexpectedly disconcerting effect. Cash's lyrics about God and heaven play with an added irony when he sings "When the Man Comes Around" and 100 million angels singing. This story is about human versus zombie and man versus the group, about hell coming to earth. And Snyder drives that point home when he truncates the song to end on Cash's spoken word outro as Snyder's own credit comes on screen.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him.
Oh, shit.
The opening isn't the only time Snyder uses music to this ironic end either. Richard Cheese's loud music version of Disturbed's nu metal Down with the Sickness plays over the characters coping with being trapped inside the mall. The mundane nature of their activities that we all participate in every day, is emphasized, culminating with the lyric, "Are our daily lives just us getting ready to die? What actually separates us from zombies?" The original version of Down with the Sickness is used later in the film to great impact as punctuation for the tragedy of the epilogue that leads into the closing credits. Also clearly on display in Snyder's first studio movie are the beginnings of his visual style. 3 scenes are particularly notable. In the beginning, as Sarah Polly's Anna returns home from work, a wide shot shows the homogeneity of the tract housing community she lives in. The shot pushes in to refocus on her individual specific life. This brief visual transition subtly prepares our focus for the movie's ideas.
A few backward laps around the block with you, okay?
Okay. All right. Careful now, gotta pull in.
This image is echoed when Anna drives away from the chaos in her community. A wide shot shows her narrowly missing a horrific accident in front of her.
Miller Park no longer considered a safe haven. Please avoid the stadium.
In a later scene, when the group is discussing how to approach a rescue mission for Andy who is trapped in the gun store, Snyder doesn't block or shoot the dialogue with conventional 2 shots and dirtied close-ups. Instead, he uses a 1 shot with motion and differing focuses to direct our attention. This approach emphasizes the cognitive process, what separates humans from zombies, and the individual from the collective, as the scene culminates on Ving Rhames' Kenneth.
Shut up! More ammunition, all right? I have an idea.
The final scene that is particularly notable for its visual design is at the climax of the film, when Snyder squeezes every last bit of heroism possible out of Michael's decision to stay behind due to being bitten.
I can't go.
What?
Downtown when they jumped on us.
Oh no, Michael.
And I think that, like, I remember when we were talking about setting the shot up and we were working on it as an idea. It's a pretty emotionally rough moment, I think, for everyone too, like, because, you know, it has, I always say that this movie has like a rock and roll ending. To me, that's like a rock and roll ending because it's just like, the guy like kills himself and it's a hard cut to black, and then rock and roll music, comes on.
Snyder turns what could have been a typical moment of tragic self-sacrifice into a man's choice to accept reality and protect his values the best way he possibly can. This reinterpretation of the archetypical heroic death is repeated throughout Snyder's filmography. Beyond these impactful musical and visual choices, Snyder reveals how this movie demonstrates his romantic sensibilities in his recounting of a screening meeting with the studio.
Someone said, okay, Zach, I have a question. Do you think the zombies would really stop at the bottom of the stairs like that and just look? And I was like, you know what? In real life, they wouldn't. It's 100%. I fucked up. Yeah. But I was like, also, do remember this is a traumatization. So we tend to embellish. So it is fake laughing.
Though Snyder characterized this story as insightful of nothing, the fact that he remembers and repeats it demonstrates how well integrated his stylistic approach is. He implicitly designs this scene in a way that doesn't simply photograph what would really happen if zombies were chasing humans. Rather, he heightens and emphasizes the terror by creating a moment wherein the audience must digest the fact that the heroes are literally staring death in the face. In Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's emergence as a mainstream filmmaker is evident as he develops his ethos of irony. My entire identity as a commercial director plays into the irony of the source film's central, most obvious satire about capitalism gone wrong. The only way you're saved is by knowing who you are, and even then. But knowing gives you a leg up. I'm Justin Elmazneski. Thanks for stopping by the Midside. Know thyself. What's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed the second video in my series on Zack Snyder's movies. Next up is 300. Again, a big shout out goes to my editor/producer. None of this would look as good without him. Also, a little behind the scenes commentary for you guys. You know that part of the video where Zack Snyder's at the panel and he's talking about dramatizing the zombies at the bottom of the stairs? You could hear that one person starting that clapping. That was me. I was honored to be there, and I was honored to celebrate romanticism in person. As always, if you enjoy what you heard here, you can check out my podcast, Welcome to the Midside. It's available on the midside.com/podcast or wherever podcasts are streaming.